How's it going, guys? Welcome back to that car vlog channel. If you don't already know, I'm Andy, and today I've got a quick vehicle tour for you today. So my buddy Jonathan, we met today at Cars and Coffee, and he brought his new purchase, and I thought I'd like to take a tour of it and take you guys along. So let's go check it out. So this here is a 2014 Nissan Pathfinder, another mid-size SUV from another Japanese company from the 2010s, much like our 2018 Highlander. Now, I would love to do a direct comparison video between these two cars because they are similar vehicles, but I'm not going to do that. We just simply don't have time. He doesn't have a lot of time before he has to leave town. So we're going to take a tour of this Pathfinder, and then you can go back and watch my Highlander video and see what you think of the two. There are a lot of similarities between these vehicles, but there are plenty of differences, and you'll see those here in this video. So we'll start with a walk around of the outside of the car. It's a pretty nice looking SUV. I think it's not bad looking at all. Somewhat stylish. I'm going to say the Highlander looks better, but I'll leave that up to the individual person to decide that. Got a nice little spoiler above the rear window here for the added style, much like the Highlander has. Down here we do have these nice 18-inch wheels. This is what appears to be the base, so probably S trim of this vehicle. You can get these up to a platinum. I think that's what it was, platinum, with more options. But we're going to look at what this trim level has here today. Walk around the front here. You got some nice, decently styled headlights. These could use a little bit of restoration, but I think all modern cars have that issue. Got some nice fog lights in the bumper there. Nothing really, standout-ish, but it's a very stylish vehicle. It looks very good. Let's go ahead and go under the hood now and talk about powertrain. Alright, now here under the hood we have a 3.5 liter V6 engine producing 260 horsepower. Now there is a little bit of a difference between this and the Highlander. The Highlander is pushing nearly 300. This is only 260 out of a same size 3.5 liter V6. So if power is what you're looking for, definitely go Highlander. Transmission wise, these are all mated to a CVT transmission. I know there's a lot of people out there that can't stand CVTs. I am kind of biased against them, but if you don't mind them, if you don't mind the way they feel to drive, then it's definitely an economical option. Just always make sure to get your used vehicles inspected and take care of those CVTs because CVTs in Nissans. Anyway, this one as equipped is front wheel drive. Now all of these Pathfinders could be optioned with all-wheel drive. So it's your choice. Find out which one you want or need. Most people aren't going to have a need for all-wheel drive, but if you do, it is available on these vehicles. Talking about power, if you're looking to pull with one of these, you can get them optioned with a tow package or have one installed. These are capable of pulling up to 5,000 pounds. That is 2,000 pounds down from the previous generation. So you can't pull a lot with these. Obviously, with the CVT, you want to limit what you pull. He does plan to pull a Toyota Corolla to Florida with this thing here pretty soon, so a Corolla's ain't no 5,000 pounds, so this should be well under the weight limit for this thing. And as far as fuel economy is concerned, if you get the front wheel drive option, you're looking at a fuel economy of about 20 city, 26 highway. All-wheel drive is going to reduce each of those numbers by 1. That's maybe a little bit lower than our Highlander is rated. Of course, it all depends on your driving style, and you may find different numbers from the EPA rating. Our Highlander's getting in the neighborhood of 20 to 22, 23 miles per gallon on average. That's mixed driving, so you could probably expect about the same out of this thing. Funny how I said I'm not going to compare the two vehicles, but it's kind of easy to do. It's kind of just rolling right off the tongue to compare these things. Alright, let's jump inside and see what it's like inside. Opening the doors, this one has the chrome door handles with the integrated lock-unlock button for when the key is in your pocket. Let's go ahead and jump in. Starting here, now ignore there's going to be a little bit of a mess. There's going to be some wear from previous owners. It's not a perfectly clean car. He does use this every day. He drives for Lyft and DoorDash and whatnot out of this thing. So it does get dirty. Obviously he does clean his cars, but today just didn't happen. Whatever. We're all people. Anyway, open the door panel. You got some nice little wood trim inserts, whether they're real or not, who knows, but pretty classy looking for a not highest trim level of this vehicle. You do have your full power options, your windows, both auto in the front, locks, mirrors, and of course your front seat memory. You do have full power seats on the first row, both sides, and let's climb in. Here on your steering wheel, you got your controls for your center display screen, as well as some of these operate the radio and phone. Over here are your cruise control controls. All these are pretty much typical Nissan switchgear. You'll find these in almost every Nissan model, as well as the signal and wiper stocks. These were the same in our 2012 Nissan Quest. You're going to see a lot of similar Nissan switchgear throughout this thing, although some of these things I'm seeing also almost scream more Infinity. In your gauge cluster, you do have your standard complement of gauges. You got your temp and tack over here, fuel and speedo over here. You got your mileage readout as well as what gear you're in down here. And then here is your center control, your center display screen to display different vehicle settings. So currently we are in vehicle settings, so you can see some of the things you have offered there. As far as driver's assistance, different vehicle settings. Let's enter into that, and you can see you can change different settings for welcome lights and lamps and light sensitivity, wiper speed, all that kind of stuff. Keep going. Let's see if there's anything else here. Not really. So you can turn on and off your remote start. Exit seat slide. That's interesting. He didn't warn me about that. When I turned the car off, the seat slid back. All right. Let's go ahead and back out of that. Down to, let's see. You got different settings here. Body color. I played with this. I don't know what this does. When I click on it, oh, here we go. Let's see what it does. Silver, white, gray, black, beige, red. I want to figure out what this is about. Maybe if you have a, I'm going to click on that and then click back. Because honestly, I don't know what this does. Okay, so that's exactly what I thought it did. So this is kind of cool. So his is silver. So up until this point, this little car on this screen, this little depiction of the vehicle, which is actually very well detailed, about like the one in our Highlander. Anyway, it was silver. So I guess, you know, if you don't like driving a red car with a silver one on your screen, you can program to tell it which color Pathfinder you got. That's kind of neat. So let's go back in real quick and try to change that back, change his body color back to silver. That's quite interesting. I don't know that he knew about that, so you might find that kind of interesting. Turn that back, and of course you can also search for maintenance reminders, different alarms, languages, units, welcome effects, and factory reset. Let's not push any kind of buttons like that. Alright, back here, you'll cycle through the menu, so that's your basic driving screen that shows what's going on around the car in real time. Here's your MPGs and your odometers and your averages. Here's your tire pressure monitoring system. It doesn't actually show the numbers until you're moving, kind of odd. And here's your average MPG, which is probably going to give you a real-time readout of what kind of MPG you're getting, at least when you're moving, I imagine. Like I said, this is a quick tour. This was not well researched. So if I'm wrong, well, I guess I'm wrong. Now, this car does have a keyless start system, so here's your start-stop button. And while we're on that topic, here's your Nissan remote. It's your typical Nissan key fob. They all have this same fob. This one has the 5 buttons because it has a bunch of features on an SUV. Your start-stop, your power lift gate, and of course your panic button. Alright, going to the center stack. I'm going to try to fight with the cord to his dash cam, which, you know, not a big deal. So you do have this screen here. Not sure exactly the size, but I'm going to guess about maybe 7 or 8 inches. We've got all your different functions in here. You got your radio. Now, interestingly, you've got controls that operate this screen in 2 different places. So you've got this one here, which is more for your infotainment, your different menus. Down here is all your radio controls. This is where most of that is done. So if we turn that on, I'm going to kill the volume so we can't actually hear anything. Here comes your radio. Let's see. We go into info. We get different kinds of things like fuel economy and maintenance. We'll push back. And go into settings. You got all your different settings and stuff here, camera settings and whatnot. So this is a kind of a general glimpse of what the infotainment looks like. If we go to, let's see, push some buttons here and go into, there we go. So that's on the XM right now. So that's what it looked like most of the time if you're playing radio. You do have navigation. You do have a CD player down here. Down here is your climate controls for front and rear. You do have dual zone up front. You do have heated seats, high and low for the front. Higher trims would also receive rear heated seats, but this is not one of those higher trims. And down here, let's see, if you pull this out, you've got a 12-volt plug here, and you have a 12-volt plug here. So I don't see any built-in USB ports, at least not under the center stack. too bad, but you know, it is what it is. That's why you buy these adapters. Moving back, here's our automatic gear lever, just straight front to back. I do kind of like where they inlaid the different indicators into the wood, kind of in these little circles. So here's your park, reverse, neutral, all that good stuff. To the right of that, you do have your dual cup holders. Very nice to have. Americans love cup holders. Here's your center console. You do have an upper part here, which apparently holds a lot of receipts. Pick up on that, and you have a lower part down below that. In this lower part, you do have places for your coins, and you've got, I believe you got a couple of USBs here, as well as a 12-volt round, and you also have AV inputs right here, your red, yellow, white. So if you want to plug your PlayStation in or your DVD player, well, you can do that. Over on the passenger side, as usual, you do have your glove box, and just like in the Nissan Juke I reviewed, this thing is deep. I mean, it's incredibly, you can swallow your whole arm in this thing. Nissan apparently believes we need deep glove boxes, and I'm not arguing with them. Going up above now here to the ceiling. Now this grill is not a speaker, this is a mic for your Bluetooth. You have various controls for your dome lights, which are kind of small in this, but apparently effective, as well as operations for door and whatnot. Here you do have your sunglass holder. Here is your rear view mirror. It's got the built-in compass. It's also got your home link buttons, as well as turn off the auto dimming and operate the compass settings. Speaking of mirrors, if we're able to see into this thing, I don't know if we are, it is a little bit obstructed. There's a lot of headrests in the way, so you don't get a lot of visibility out the rear window with all of them in place. So if you're worried about rear visibility while driving forward, that could be an issue. However, for reverse, we do have the backup cam, and while it is not the greatest thing in the world, it's definitely got lackluster graphics on it. Once again, it's not a very expensive car, so you kind of don't expect for that to be that great. But it is good enough, and it does offer the lines that turn, so you can see where your vehicle is going to go, depending on the angle that you turn your wheel. And also useful, it sees right down onto your trailer hitch, which is great for lining it up. I know we greatly enjoyed that when we were hitching up to the Highlander for the New York trip. Something that I've always found kind of odd about modern Nissans is they like to make large buttons for things you'll barely ever use. So like right here, these are your buttons to brighten or dim your gauge cluster display. So if I hit this button right here, it's going to make it dimmer. And it'll give you a little indicator up in the screen too to tell you where it is. I never understood why in the world they made those buttons so big. They're such prominent buttons for something you'll barely ever touch. Now on this other side, it is, you know, a frequent button. It's a trip meter reset. I get that, but I do not get the dimmer buttons. And over here in the center stack, they did the same thing for the infotainment screen. You got these giant buttons for brightness control and to turn off day and night mode, which I guess it's useful if it doesn't automatically do it to have one button to hit and turn into night mode. But the brightness controls, I don't see how often anybody's going to use those. But if you're someone who frequently adjusts the brightness on the screens in your vehicle, the Nissan Pathfinder and several other Nissan models, especially the Quest, make that pretty easy. Alright, into the back seat now, and unfortunately the wood trim does not continue to the back. If it does in higher trims, I'm not really certain, but it does not continue to the back in this one. We'll go ahead and climb on in though. Now, I will say this, it's pretty roomy back here. I got plenty of knee room, headroom, apps for days. It's really great. Now here in the back, you don't have a lot. In higher trims, you're going to get a few more controls than what we got here, as well as, I believe, some power ports. But back here, there are no power plugs in the console. Now this one actually does, at least it has the controls for heated seats. I may have been misled in understanding that it didn't have heated for the rear, but this one at least has the controls for them. I'm not going to leave them on long enough to find out. And here are your controls for your rear climate. Otherwise, not a lot to see here. Now here's interesting though, in your doors, you know, most cars have cup holders down here on the doors, and this one does too. But this one has it right here, an easy reach in the armrest of the doors. Now that's a pretty neat feature. I do like that. Otherwise, not a lot to see back here in the second row. So let's go look and see what the third row is like, because this is a 3-row vehicle. Also in the second row, if you pull down here, like most, you do have a little storage slot here and 2 cup holders in this center armrest. Alright, now getting into the third row in this thing is actually pretty easy. So you got 2 levers on these seats. See, you pull this one on the back, and it flips up, and then your seat bottom folds up, and the whole thing slides forward. And now you just have this massive area to just climb right on in, even if you're holding a camera. Now, here I'm sitting on the passenger side, and this driver's side is all the way back, so you can see how much room there is in the third row. If you've got tall people riding the second row, you're only putting kids back here. If you're willing to make some sacrifices on second row legroom, you can put some taller people back here, but I would mostly use this for children. Now you do have your cup holders, 2 on each side of the rear, and nicely enough, instead of having them on the ceiling like most 3-row vehicles do for the third row, you got them right here on the sides, your climate control vents, to blow more towards your body instead of the top of your head. I really do like that. Alright, into the cargo area. We'll hit the button and let it raise itself up. FYI, on these modern SUVs, including the Highlander, it would prefer that you let it raise itself up unless you've got it disabled, which there is a switch for down to the left of the steering wheel. You can actually disable the power. Anyway, back here is not the largest cargo area in the world, especially the third row up. Now, we can go ahead and, put the headrest down and then pop the seat down, maybe. There we go. And you get a bit more storage space in the back of this Pathfinder. So if we do put them both down, I don't know the exact storage specs on this thing. However, it is quite similar to the Highlander. Maybe a wee bit more, but not very much. I don't think you're going to get much more in here than the Highlander at all. But with the third row down, if you're the kind of person that runs the third row down all the time, cargo volume, I wouldn't worry about it. If you plan on carrying a lot of people, plan on carrying less stuff though. Back here we do have a 12-volt round, again right here on the side. And that is the only power we have in the back, although that is more than the Highlander has. So, there's a one-up on Nissan. Down here, pull this handle, and you do have a relatively good amount of storage stuff. He keeps a lot of stuff in here. No spare tire here. That is underneath the vehicle. You do retrieve that from underneath. So you don't have to worry about not being able to access that if you got that storage tray full. To pull the seats back up, very simple, just like the Highlander. Grab and pull the strap and tip this back up. Just as simple and quick as that. And I'll close this back down with a touch of a button. Once again, it prefers to do it power unless you disable it. One advantage that the Highlander has over this is this rear glass. Now, I cannot find a way that this rear glass opens by itself, so therefore it does not. There is a second button under here next to the popper for the hatch itself, but that is a lock-unlock button, much like on the front doors. That's actually something nice that Nissan has, but you cannot pop the glass separate from the hatch, and that is definitely a distinct advantage with the Highlander. Alright, so we're driving the Pathfinder now, and got Jonathan in the back seat so he can tell me what that's like. Because I don't usually review what it's like to ride in the back seat. Is it pretty good back there?
It's comfortable.
Alright, perfect. As far as comfort up here, not too bad. It feels pretty good. I can do this for a long period of time. A little bit of something to keep my knees from hurting, but that's my own personal problem. Good visibility, front and back. Like I said earlier, the rear view mirror visibility is not the greatest. You want to probably put down any headrest you possibly can. But if you don't need the rear view, then you're good. I'm one of those people that doesn't. Power, this thing's got some pretty good power to it. It's got that 3.5 liter V6. That 260 horsepower doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not as much as the Highlander, but for something this size, it still get up and go. If you're not used to driving a CVT, you'll need some time to get used to that, not feeling a car shifting or anything like that. It is definitely strange, but it's smoother acceleration, more efficient way to drive a car. So if you're cool with that, that's good. Let's see what this thing will do from a stoplight.
Keep it forward. You gotta hold it there.
Not a race car, but no, not a slouch either, so very nice. One thing to note about at least this lower level Pathfinder is you'll see on the screen here, if you can tell, it has the car driving between two lines. Now our Highlander has the same thing, but this does not have the adaptive cruiser lane keep assist in it. In the Highlander, that display correlates with all that, and it flashes when you're passing out of lanes, and it shows you distance behind cars and whatnot. So I'm assuming that's what that would be used for in this if it had those systems equipped. I can only assume in higher trims it would have them, but this one does not. So there you have it. That's my quickie review of the 2014 Nissan Pathfinder. Probably not my best work, but as far as I can be concerned, it's probably pretty good for a quick review. I'll give you one more walk around as we finish up here. So if you are in the market for a mid-size SUV, now you've got two on my channel to consider. You've got the 14 Pathfinder and of course the 18 Highlander. So watch both of these videos. See what you think, make a decision what you want. They're both great choices. Of course, anybody who knows me knows I'm going to be really wary about any Nissan CVT. But, you know, as with any car, it treats you how you treat it. So, you know, get it inspected, treat it well, give it its service. And maybe it'll last you a while, who knows. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this review, found it informative, and that it didn't suck too much. It was definitely an impromptu review. If you did enjoy this, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below, ring the notification bell if you haven't already. Also follow on Facebook and Instagram at that car vlog channel. And also check the description of every video below for a link to a list of cars that I would be willing to review that I think of off the top of my head. All offers are accepted. If you got anything you'd be willing to let me drive and review on the channel, hit me up on social media. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.